Welcome everybody back to Fight Logic in the studio. Today we have our special guest, Mr. PJREYNA.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Great, thank you. So you were sporting a nice little Fight Logic shirt there?
Oh yeah, for sure. Always repping my good sponsors.
Yeah, awesome. Well, nice to have you come all the way down. Where are you from?
I'm actually from Oakhurst, California, but I just moved up to Sanger not that long ago. I live on a little lake out there.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you guys go fishing?
I do sometimes, yeah, but I like to sleep a lot when I'm not training, so I don't want to get up early.
Yeah, I heard you like to, when you're not training, eat pizza from 7-Eleven too.
Sometimes, if I have to, when I'm driving down here at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, no doubt. So you are when you're not training, you'll go some fishing, but when you are training, what does that entail? What is your training?
I normally train. I fight at a dethroned base camp, so I normally start out there at about 12 o'clock. But lately I've been training a little bit at Thrive MMA. I got a couple of my buddies that fight out of there. So I've been going there for a couple hours from 10 to about 11:30 most of the time. And then I roll over to Dethroned from 12 to 2 and train then. And then I get done about that time, go home, sleep, hang out with my parents.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you actually got involved in the sport. Because from what I know, you've actually started not just the sport of MMA, but just in competition arts. You've been doing it for a while, right?
Yeah. I started wrestling, I think it was kindergarten. I started wrestling when I was in kindergarten.
Wow.
And I just kept wrestling through there. I started wrestling down in Fresno, Clovis, and just grew up, kept wrestling, got to high school, still kept wrestling. My 8th grade year, my parents made me swim, and I didn't like it. There was no contact sport or anything really competitive. Swimming across the pool is kind of boring. So I quit, and then my mom told me that I had to start MMA because they're both black belts, so they wanted me to get into the whole discipline. And
oh wow! So your parents
like
are both black belts?
Yeah. Well, my mom's a black belt, my dad's a brown belt, both in Kempo.
Oh, in Kempo.
Yeah.
Nice, Gachi Kempo. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good style. Very powerful. So they're black belts and a brown belt, and they're like, okay, no. All right, well, if you're not going to swim, then you're going to have to start training.
Yeah, they didn't want me to become a bad kid. We didn't live in the greatest area, and some of my friends weren't the smartest kids, so they put me in sports.
Well, it's a great idea because sometimes, you might not be a bad kid, right? But sometimes you hang around with people,
you
get influenced. I mean, they always say, oh, no, that's not true, but it is true. When you hang out with, different crowds, you might not totally do everything they do, but you start doing the things, and then you're known
picking up their habits.
Yeah.
And not only if you surround yourself around bad people, they're going to think you're just like them.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're doing it or not.
Yeah.
They see you, and you get labeled. Oh yeah, that's one of those kids that are messing around, doing too much. So you decided. I mean, the good thing about I was thinking about swimming. At least when you're swimming, you're in the water, you're holding your breath. So if you ever get a rear naked choke or something, you'll be like,
you
I'm
ride
in the
it
pool.
out for a while. I actually timed myself the other day. I was at GB3 cutting weight, and I can stay underwater for 1 minute and 37 seconds.
1 minute and 37 seconds?
1 minute and 37 seconds.
Yeah, that's good.
Crazy. It's awesome, man.
That's an
you think
awesome
about it,
skill.
if I'm still fighting as an amateur, I can get choked out for most of the round and be all right. I was proud.
yeah, because you just sit there, be in your zen point. You're like, I'm not even here right now. I'm eating pizza at 7-Eleven.
Riding it out.
So all right, so you started training. You got so what did you actually get into when you decided? Did you get into Gachi Kempo, or is there a different form?
No, I actually got into a little MMA place up in Oakhurst called Kihan. There's maybe 10, 15 people there. And I had always been one of the top guys in the class, due to my wrestling. And my parents, black belts, so I used to work with them too when I was younger. And it became more of like a teaching type of thing there instead of more of me learning. And I've always had a dream, I want to fight, I want to fight.
Yeah.
And so, teaching wasn't really where I wanted to be at that point. I wanted to fight, I wanted to compete myself. I didn't think I was good enough to, actually teach a class and teach things that I don't personally know all the greatest in.
And that's the thing, especially you have your skills, you have your skill sets, and then they ask you, hey, you want to be a trainer? Or okay, yeah, but I'm really not fully ready to take that on. I still want to, grow my skills. I still want to be a more well-rounded fighter before I can actually start training and teaching.
And all I knew how was just to wrestle.
And you knew how to wrestle, but that, still
it.
Wrestling is still one of the premier weapons to have in your repertoire, right?
Definitely, yeah. I think it gives you the ability to control the fight, keep it standing, or take it down.
So let's talk back more about your wrestling. Tell us a little bit more about what you did in your wrestling career.
I started wrestling, in kindergarten. I think I was like five or 6 years old. I went to the Reno Worlds twice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I had a buddy named Chris Temez. I used to wrestle with him and his dad. His dad, Anthony Temez, was an Olympic wrestler.
Oh, sweet.
And so I would actually stay there the night there 4 nights a week, and I'd be home 3 nights a week. And they lived right down the street from me, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But they had the whole gym at their house and everything. And went to Reno Worlds twice, got third my 2nd grade year. And then my 5th grade year, I got 2nd. I lost in the finals. And then 6th grade year, I got 7th in the Western States Championships.
Awesome.
And then once I stepped to high school, the level of competitiveness got a lot harder for me. And so I kind of, I was a chubby kid too when I was younger. And
I wouldn't know anything about that.
No, I was a chubby kid. I was 4'8", 160 pounds my freshman year.
Okay, so when you were wrestling, you weren't wrestling little weights. You were more of the heavyweights for your age group?
Actually, when I was younger, when I lived in Fresno, I was wrestling at a lightweight, but then I had gotten a stomach problem. My stomach produces too much acid, so it makes me throw up, and I had to get surgery. And doctors said, I'm going to be eating a lot because my body hasn't had the nutrition that it's always wanted for throwing up for 2 years straight. Yeah. And so after I got my surgery, everything I ate just boom, stuck right on me.
Your body's like, I'm taking this. I haven't had this in a while. I'll give me it.
Definitely.
So okay, so how did it feel being like in 2nd grade to and then 2 years later? How does it feel to like actually win and actually place and then to be in the finals?
At the time, it really didn't seem like that big of a thing because I was so young. But looking back on it now, and when people talk to me about it, it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
It's such an honor, to be able to accomplish something like that. At such a young age, I was lucky.
I mean, not only that. I mean, the determination and the training. I mean, how often do kids leave actually for 4 days? I mean, yeah, granted you were really close, right? But you that was determination to be there for 4 days to actually get your training on and doing it and basically living that life. It's like almost like what they do in like Russia or China or something. They find
that like such a young age.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, we're going to put you over here and you're going to be doing this.
I just wanted to make sure as soon as I get older that I become something. I want to be something. Something everybody remembers. Yeah. And I just. You got to chase it now. You can't wait. When you wait, you miss opportunities. Yeah. You can't be missing opportunities.
I was watching, it's funny you say that, I was watching this interview recently, and the guy in the interview says, if you don't ever take any chances, especially if you're not going to take the chance to fail, then what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything. Yeah. If all you do is feel comfortable and then don't do anything, then...
It's like an opportunity cost,
you don't get anything out of it. So, okay, so fast forwarding now, you've done that. You were kind of maybe, getting into high school, kind of getting into that zone where it's like, your parents like, we better get him out of, we've moved and hanging out with different people. We better get him out of there. Let's get him back into some training. Yep. So you get into your training. They're asking you, hey, be more of a teacher, help us teach. But at the same time, you're like, I want to still learn. I want to develop my skills. So what happens then?
So I kind of just left, I was paying like $150 to train there.
And to teach.
Yeah, and to teach, right, at this little gym. I mean, granted, it's a great gym. There's some good fighters coming out of there. I have nothing bad to say about them. But, I kind of just wanted to fight more than teach, I mean, I appreciate mixed martial arts and everybody that does it. But, I'm a fighter, just at heart. So I stopped training there, and I actually started training out of my garage for 2 years. And I won 2 state titles. Training out of my garage with my parents and my brother-in-law.
Awesome.
And just wrestling, and that was it.
So so was it 2 wrestling state titles, or was it some mixed martial arts state titles?
Mixed martial arts. I was a 2-time pancration state champion.
Awesome.
So I didn't have any hands, my parents, Kempo, they don't really teach much of punching, more kicking.
And, it's kicking.
And stuff like that. So I would just keep kicking him. If I couldn't keep him standing up, I would just take him down and ride it out. And so I was lucky it got me 2 state titles that way.
Nice. And if they did actually come towards you, you're just going to...
Exactly.
You're going to dip them down.
Double leg all day.
All right. That's that's what you got to do. Take them down. So you're 2-time state champion. You still haven't really fully developed your up top game. You could take them down. You kick the crap out of them. Excuse my French. But so then what happens?
And so then I just kept fighting and everything, and I decided I needed to get a gym, and I started training out of a garage in Madera, and I was working with underprivileged kids. Kind of the reason why I took it, you work with inner city kids, they kind of don't have much,
Right.
and so what they do have is that group of people, is like a family, the thing of feeling the family, of having such a tight group. I think it was like 7 of us were fighting out of this garage. And I enjoyed it a lot, thoroughly. I loved the kids there that I was training with. But some of the stuff that they had going on there, just wasn't my type of style.
Yeah.
It's not my cup of tea, so
Yeah.
couldn't really take it.
It's smart. Like, you've made smart decisions when you know it's not going to be beneficial to you, and it's just not something that you really want. You're going to move on to do something that you really do want to do. So I'm still thinking in my head, I'm like, well, he trained with his parents and his and the brother-in-law, and he got 2 pancreation titles, and that was just from their garage. So then he moves on. You're doing this with, and that's awesome that you're working with, the youth like that, because you obviously have a strong family root,
Definitely.
Your family's strong.
I have a very strong passion, for wrestling and teaching, and sharing my passion, through the sport with other kids is fantastic. I also coached a youth wrestling team too.
Oh, nice.
When I was in high school, all 4 years.
Oh, awesome. So I mean, because you think about it, sometimes they don't have, people don't have that kind of a unit. So when you help develop that unit, you change their lives, You get
kind of. It's not necessarily me changing their lives. It's me helping them get the opportunity to change their lives. I can't make them do it, but if they choose to, that's the chance I'm willing to take.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give that to some kid to better his life, so he can grow up and be something like Jose Aldo, something like that, become a champion.
Yeah, or just even, those some of the things those lessons make him, be a better person. Maybe he'll make that right decision when he has a choice to make a wrong one. So now you've developed, you've moved on to the next area. What happens then?
I stopped training out of the garage because I didn't like the whole way they were running it and stuff like that. And I have one of my friends, he fought out of the little gym I used to fight out in Milcrest called Kihan. His name's Anthony Ruiz. He's a pro cage fighter.
Oh, no. Nice.
And he told me, he's like, why don't you come down and train at Dethrone? I'll pay for you to do a couple months, blah, blah, blah. I ended up going to Dethrone for 3 days, and they asked me if I wanted to be part of the team and everything like that. So once that happened, it felt like such a good accomplishment, being from winning those tournaments when I was a younger kid to boom, like now I'm training in a legit gym with Josh Koscheck and John Salter.
Oh, wow.
And Chris Honeycutt, all these high world-class champions, LeVar Johnson, and it was just crazy, thinking that all these people, dream to be with these guys one day, and I finally got the opportunity, I train with them every day. It's awesome.
How did that feel? It's awesome, right?
Oh, it was the greatest thing. I actually cried a couple times about it. I was so lucky to be there. I was happy.
And there's nothing wrong with the crying, especially when you're crying about just how awesome, life is being to you.
Your being an emotional person, too, doesn't really help it out much either.
Yeah, women like that, too. But, that's awesome. I mean, you're, like, doing it, I had a dream to be with these people, around people like them, to be, to work on it, be in caliber like them, and it's working out. So then what happens? So you're training with them. Does it now when you go and when you start working with the gym, do they like cut you deals and stuff, or do they kind of like make you part of their team and they're like
make you part of the team? I didn't really get cut any deals. I didn't have to pay to train there. Being part of the team.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Wearing the name, and some people pay hundreds of dollars to train there a month, and I was lucky I didn't have to. And started training out of there. I won the TOC tournament. It's a tournament of champions. They take a champion from 8 of the Western states, and they all fight in the same tournament. And so I won that at 135s, and then started cage fighting. Took my first cage fight. They changed the rules now where you can be 16 years old fighting in the cage. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. My parents are like, no, not yet. Not yet. And I was like, I'm going to do it. So I got a hold of one of the promoters, and I set it all up myself, being a 16-year-old kid. Boom, got my first fight. My mom, she started managing me a little bit, selling all my tickets and stuff like that, and getting everything together. The family's coming down and stuff, and it was awesome.
So how does your mom feel when you're about to have a match? She get nervous?
Ooh, she gets nervous. She stresses me out. She gets so nervous.
Yeah, I bet your mom really, she's cool.
Is this in order? Is this in order? It's okay, Mom. Everything's going to be all right.
You're all dizzy, taped up. You better not have nothing on it. No, make sure, check everything on it.
I don't even have to get nervous. She gets nervous for me.
That's good. That's cool. It takes off that edge off of you. You're like,
Definitely.
I don't have to worry about it. My mom's going to take care of it.
I've had that one blessing, you know, I've never really had to stress about anything at a fight, you know. Never had to stress about my shorts or my T-shirts or anything like that, or, you know, who's coming, who's not coming. Never, ever had to worry about that.
No, you're like, I'm concentrating on this match, and that's what I'm going to do.
Exactly.
So tell us what happens at that fight.
I took my first fight as October 6th, I think it was, of last year. Took my first fight, you know, I was nervous. I was fighting a high school state wrestling champion.
Oh, wow.
And so I was thinking, you know, I'm fighting a guy at my own game, you know. I was really nervous about it. Ended up getting in the cage and walked out a minute and 25 seconds later with my first victory.
Yeah.
I was stoked, man. First round, finished him with a Kimura, popped his elbow out of place.
Oh,
I was so scared when that happened. I just let go and like looked at him, like made sure he was good and everything. I had no clue what to do, but they were like, "Oh, you won," and I was just stoked.
You're like,
that.
"All right, yeah."
I was like, "Sweet!" It jumped up and down, you know.
So I tend to ask. I always ask fighters when they come in. You know, how was it the first time you got that first punch or kick in the actual cage?
Well, actually, I didn't necessarily throw the first punch. He threw the first kick. Actually.
No, how was it when you first got that first contact towards you? How'd you feel?
It was perfect. You know, it was a perfect straight right hand, actually. He stepped in for a front kick, and I just parry blocked it. Right hand, I hit him right in the chest, and that's when I knew, you know, I was like, all right, you know, I got this. You can always tell a fighter by the first engagement, you know, the first time you guys touch each other, you're going to know, like, oh, is he stronger than me, or is he hit harder than me? And as soon as I felt that, I knew I felt more comfortable than he did.
You're like, I got this.
And so then I just kind of, you know, took off from there, and it was just a quick takedown right after that.
And pop.
Yep, ground and pound, and then just slapped it right on him perfectly.
So, boo, you're 16 years old. You put yourself in this your own match. You win the Tournament of Champions for the 8 places, for the 8 states, right? Then what happens? What do you do now?
And then I just kept training. You know, I wanted to fight more and more, and I fought a couple more times after that down in where I live in Fresno. At the time, I fought a couple more times down there. And then I took 2 months off to train, you know, just trained a little bit, and I graduated high school. Nice. And now I'm just, you know, relaxing, living the dream, you know, training every day as much as I can, just trying to fight as much as I can. I want to try to go pro as soon as possible.
So being someone that obviously has had a lot of the training growing up, you know, since your kindergarten, and, you know, developing a nice skill sets, and how is that when you're actually trying to get an opponent? Does that sometimes, you know, kind of get in the way, or do people get scared of that?
It gets in the way. It becomes pretty hard. I actually had to bump up to 145s due to the problem. I won the state tournament at 135s, and so, you know, nobody, I don't want to fight the state champion, you know, I don't want to fight him. So I just bumped up to 145s, and I only weighed 137 at the time. And I just fought 145s, and if that's the way that I can compete still and still make sure that I'm progressing, you know, as an amateur fighter at such a young age, you know, I was only 16.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that I was still getting better, you know. Yeah. So when I'm ready to make that leap to the pros, that, you know, I can compete at that level.
And I ask you because just recently you had a match scheduled, right?
Yeah, I did.
And they didn't. What happened?
Last Saturday, I had a match set up and everything. I showed up at weigh-ins. You know, I was on weight, I was doing my medicals, and guy I was supposed to fight standing right in front of me turns around, shakes my hand. He's like, "How's it going?" I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And starts talking to the camo official again, and he goes, "Oh, I left my wallet in the car. You know, my ID." Goes out to the car and never came back after that. Never came back.
So I guess your guys' you know, you were talking about just a little bit ago when you first get in that first interaction, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He knew right there.
Exactly.
He's like,
he was bigger than me. He was like 6'1".
Oh, wow.
He's 6'1", and he was overweight. He came in at 150, and I was at 45s.
And you're how tall?
I'm only 5'8".
Because we're sitting down, they really can't tell.
Yeah, 5'8".
So you're 5'8", he's 6'1". He's 150. He comes in over, so he's not even, you know. So it's like, you know, whatever. He sees you, and he's like, I'm going to walk away now.
Definitely.
His wallet must have been really far, like in El Segundo or something.
Left it at home or
he
something.
left it in El Segundo, I think, his wallet. But all right, awesome. So now you're continuing to train. So far, it's been a great interview. Thank you, by the way. You're training now. What's up for your future?
I'm just going to keep training. After he backed out, I went and got myself my first tattoo. You know, I turned 18. I'm like, oh, I want to get a tattoo. went and got my first one, so taking it off till Monday, and I'm just going to keep training. I don't want to stop, It's sitting at home, it gets boring.
So, thank you again for being here. If you'd like to, thank anybody out there, go ahead and say who you'd like to thank.
Thank you for having me. I'd like to thank my parents for sure. They've always been there and supported me. Thank you, Fight Logic, for, having me out here and everything. 5150 Energy Drink, they've been there for a while. Native Menace and my manager, Team Ruiz, and all my guys down at Dethrone and Thrive, Poppies, and Isaac. Thank you guys so much for helping my grappling game.
Nice, awesome. So, you can't do it without your coaches, your team, your sponsors, and everyone that helps you develop who you are. Thanks again for watching Fight Logic Television. Really appreciate it. Facebook, what's your Facebook?
You can Facebook me at PJREYNA or at Twitter at PJREYNA MMA.
Awesome. Thanks again for watching Fight Logic. All right, welcome everybody to Fight Logic. Again in the studio here with more fighters and more stories and more heart, figuring out why they do it and why they love it and why we love it and why we love to see them do it. All right, so today we're with the lovely Cynthia. Welcome back.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm doing really good.
Nice. So last time I saw you, I saw some fight pictures of you with a belt, right? Got a new title, or what's going on there?
No, actually that title was from last year in April. So
That's the one that you brought here then?
Yeah, that's the one I had already had. Yeah.
So how you been doing? You've been training? What are you doing?
Yeah, I've been training my butt off nonstop. I broke my hand in my last fight in September, so I'm just trying to come back strong from that.
How was that? What happened?
Overhand right, and I broke my hand on her face. So I was out for like 6 weeks, and now I'm just trying to make sure I get comfortable, and I'm good. I feel really good right now.
So now you're the face breaker, the hand breaker. You don't got a new nickname or anything like that?
No, the one that I've been having since the beginning, the get-go, is a crybaby. So I didn't really like it at first, but I'm owning up to it.
So how'd that come about? Now we're gonna have to talk about it. So how'd crybaby come about?
Crybaby came about because I cry a lot at the gym. Like, I get frustrated. Like, if I'm not constantly, winning, or if doing good, I'm really hard on myself. So I cry out of frustration, but I'll just keep going. I'll cry and then I'll keep going.
No.
So that's why crybaby. I'm the only girl at the gym. They're not used to being, a girl so emotional and stuff, but. Yeah, that's what I'm crying.
Yeah, we're all emotional. But yeah, sometimes women are emotional, but I understand that. I mean, sometimes you got all that frustration. You're like, I
cry a lot.
So they're like, cry baby, otra vez. So do you so you cry out just in frustration, or also in your happiest and victory? So after you win too.
When I'm happy, tears of joy all the time. You get those goosebumps flowing through my body. I just get my eyes get all water. I cry all the time. Yeah.
So when's your next match coming up?
My next matchup is actually March 1st. I'm going to be fighting in Vegas for Tough Enough.
Oh, that's right around the corner then.
Yes.
So you've been training, right?
Yes.
Obviously. How many hours a day are you training? Because I heard a story about just what you've been doing, your training, and how you just keep going. It's inspirational. It's motivational too, especially for people out there that are, that aren't doing it. So tell us a little bit about your day. How does it start?
All right. So my car broke down about 2 months ago, and I've been doing what I need to do to get my training in. So what I do is I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I can be at the gym. Take my mom's car early before she goes to work, so I can get my cardio in, and get back as soon as she gets before she has to go to work. She drops me off at work. And I go to work. Right after work, my sister drops me off at the gym. So I do my MMA training there from 4 o'clock till around 7 to 8.
In the morning?
No.
Okay, so let's go back.
Sorry,
so let's go.
Did I confuse you?
No. So you start at 4 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon?
4:30 in the morning.
So you start at 4:30 in the morning, and you start your beginning of your cardio. So mom drops you off, and
I go get my cardio on, come back home, and then she takes me to work.
So what's in your cardio regiment for the day? What do you do at 4?
I'm just doing sprints, just treadmill, so just constantly, just working in sprints and working on my wins so I can have good cardio in my fights and stuff, being explosive. So I just take care of that in the morning. And then afterwards, my mom drops me off at work. And then right after work, my sister drops me off at the gym at 4 o'clock p.m. And then from 4 p.m. to around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m., that's around.
So around 12 hours already of your day, you've already went to the gym, you've already went to work. Oh, no, you went to get your cardio, you went to work, now you're back at the gym?
Yeah, training. I got to do my MMA training and get there. And then I get home around like 8 o'clock. My brother or my teammates drop me off at home.
So okay, so go over some of your MMA training. What do you do in your, that's a long day, man. I'm sleeping throughout that whole time, just to let you know.
No, I know.
That's good though, but you need to have that kind of determination.
I'm hungry.
So yeah, you're hungry.
There's no way around it. Hard work has never done me wrong.
Obviously, you're a champ already. So you do the so you get there, you get to your MMA training 4:30. So what's that consist of?
It just depends on every day. Sometimes we'll go really hard, sometimes we'll go really light. It's very important to have your recovery days. So you can't go hard every day. But we just switch it up. Everything's MMA based, so we do a lot of drills, we do a lot of sparring. It just consists of everything. I wouldn't say everything. We don't practice everything too traditional as far as like our jiu-jitsu. Everything's for MMA.
Yeah.
So we don't practice any bad habits. It's because there's just certain things from each martial arts that you shouldn't practice.
What are bad? So that's something totally new to me. I haven't heard of that before. Doing this. What is a bad habit in a form?
Well, let's say. Let's say jiu-jitsu. You do the gi and you have to grab onto the gi a lot. And that can affect you in a fight.
Yeah.
Right. So let's say you're winning. You're in a winning position, and you're tired, and you're gonna go back to muscle memory. You're gonna start grabbing on clothes. What's the ref gonna do?
Yeah.
Break you up. There goes your position. There goes. It just stops. It just certain things like that. So that's an example.
Oh, I mean, yeah, because not only that, I mean, who wears a gi anymore, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in a mixed martial arts match, it's it's no gis going on there. For the guys, it's shortless or depends on where you're at, like amateur or pro or whatnot. Yeah. But you haven't really nothing to get onto anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why Gracie was so good in the beginning, because he could just gi choke everybody. But now that the sport's evolved, you can't do that. So that's something that they train you not to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just something, not so much not to do, it's just we just
don't do it.
it.
Yeah, you don't want to practice it.
Why, the biggest picture for me ultimately is to be an MMA fighter. So I respect jiu-jitsu, and I understand that people are like, you got to do gi, and stuff. But I just don't.
But it's not. But it's. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's good to know that, and it's good to be able to implement it. But at the same time, if you're not going to be able to use it in the matches that you're going to be, going for when you're hungry, it's like why,
Yeah.
But it's good to always know it, right?
Yes.
It's good to have it in you. So okay, so now it's about 8 o'clock. You get home. Your day's been long. It's already, more than 12 hours. You've been up easy, like 16 almost. Yeah. You go to bed. Do you eat some stuff when you go to bed, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, I just drink a lot of water. It's very important. You drink water as soon as you wake up, is when you go to bed. But egg whites, protein. You just got to eat clean. You eat good food, you feel good.
Yeah, I mean, since the last time I saw you, which we were at the last matches, the WC matches here. Yeah. You could totally tell that you've gotten into the fighting shape, right? You're more into that. You're trimming down. You're getting your animal on.
Yeah. Yeah, when I'm determined, I'm determined. I'm that type of person who's like, I'm gonna get it done. I don't like being talk. I don't like just talking up. I'm gonna do what I need to do to get the job done.
That's good. Don't hit me. Don't hit me. Don't hit me.
Well, really?
Yeah, you're okay. I'll do that. You want me to do it? Are you telling me to hit me? So it's about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. What time do you go to bed?
I try to go to bed, in 9:30, 10, because sleep's very important. But sometimes really hard. Right now I'm just getting, the 5 hours, let's say 5, 6
Yeah,
hours.
that must be hard. I mean, I had to get a lot of sleep, obviously. My problem.
But it's one of those things. I actually get upset if I miss my cardio in the morning. Like sometimes, like if I'm like, I'm like, oh, I'm so, like I can't, like I refuse to miss my training. Like it's just, I don't want to have any excuses. When it comes down to the fight, I should have done this, I should have done that. No, I want to be, I did everything I could to prepare for the fight, win or lose. I know that I did my best to do it.
That is awesome. You're very inspirational. That's very good stuff. I mean, I just wish I could get myself out of bed at 4 in the morning. That'd be awesome. And maybe I could. I'll take it. Yeah, but that's great. That's good stuff. So now you're ready. You're hungry, and you're ready for your next battle, and that's going to be great. Well, and then after that, do you have anything? Are you kind of just going to wait for your victory? Let's go for a victory, and then after that, or do you have any plans for after that coming?
We got another title shot set up. April 27th for WCS.
Nice. That's what I wanted to talk about. So the WCS in April is your next one for the WCS here. That's great. Later we're going to be talking to Gabe, and we're going to be talking about more about the upcoming event. So thanks again for being here today.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
I don't know, in the film television world, when you go on stage, you say break a leg. I don't really think you should say break a leg when you're going to MMA. So what do you say? Go kick their butt. Yeah, bring back, keep being hungry. It's nice to have you today.
Yeah.